Hello, I'm Jamie Machuk with the Wisconsin Valley Library Service, and welcome to our first Digital Byte. And Digital Bytes are meant to be short, bite-sized training pieces delivered in a digital format. And we will be recording these and uploading these and archiving them so that you can watch them at any time. And they are meant to serve as short trainings applicable to anybody who works at any size library. So this week we are going to focus on customer service best practices, and this is going to be part of a series. This is part one of the series. So let's go ahead and get started. For the Byte this week, we're going to talk about the role of positive language and what that looks like in our library and how it can play a role in the service that we provide. Whether we are in front of somebody at the desk, or we are talking to them over the phone, or having a conversation over email, or having a comment thread on social media, all of that is communication, and the language that we choose to use can make a difference in the service that we do provide and how our customers see us with our service. So before we get into that, let's take a look at what customer service is. And I think it's important for us to establish this, not only for ourselves, but for our library. Does your library have, customer service standards that you are encouraged to adhere to? I like this definition. There are many of them out there. I like that it talks about delivering professional service, high quality before, during, and after the requirements of our customers are met. However, it's a little general, and I feel it's a little bit long. So what I encourage you to do is think about what great service means to you, and keep it short. Keep it something that you can remember, something that's always going to be at the forefront of your mind when somebody is in front of you at the library. So I encourage you to keep it to 10 words or fewer. If you need to pause the recording, you can do that. You can hit the pause button on the lower left-hand side of your screen. Go ahead and do that. But think about what it means to you. And this should be something that you can do consistently. I also want to touch on the 4 Ps in customer service. And they are promptness, politeness, professionalism, and personalization. These are the core characteristics when we're talking about customer service. So when we think of promptness, people want things on time. When we say a book is going to be held on the shelf on a certain day, people expect that. When we say that a hotspot is available for checkout, or a laptop is available, or a program is going to happen on a certain day, people expect that. They want that to happen. They want that to happen when we say it's going to. So promptness is very important. We also want to make sure we're being polite. And this is something as simple as saying hello when people walk in the door, saying goodbye, saying have a nice day, thank you for stopping in. Those first impressions and those final impressions are so huge. Do we do that? Do we say hello to people as they come in? Do we say goodbye? Do we say have a nice day? Simple politeness, which I think is a little bit of a lost art, and it's something we need to work on bringing back. Professionalism is something that we all need to provide. It doesn't matter what kind of degree we have. It doesn't matter our title. It doesn't matter how long we've been working at the library, or it doesn't matter. Everybody who walks in our doors thinks of us as a librarian. They think of us as someone who's going to give them professional, courteous treatment. And we need to keep that in mind. And then, are we personalizing our services as much as we can? Are we using people's names, people that we know? Are we remembering the things they like when they come back the second, third, or fourth time? So we want to try to personalize that service as much as we can. The goal is to have at least one of these characteristics in every customer service interaction. If we can have 2, even better. 3, 4, awesome. So we always want to keep these characteristics, or the 4 Ps, in mind in everything that we do. So let's go ahead now and get into the role of positive language. What I'm going to do is give you a simple playbook of phrases, and they are simple. However, sometimes I think we forget about these, and hopefully you can keep these at the forefront of your mind, keep them in your playbook, keep them in your toolbox, and use them time and time again when you are working with your customers at the library. So let's take a look at what some of these are. I'm happy to help, right? I told you these would be simple. This is really important when customers feel like they're bothering us. And believe me, I believe a lot of them do. They might have to interrupt us as we're putting something on the shelf, or as we're maybe picking up something, or as we're working the desk. People shouldn't see, especially if we're at the desk, people shouldn't see us working. They shouldn't see the tops of our heads. We're going to talk about that in another session with body language. So when someone says, I'm sorry to bother you. No, I'm happy to help you. That's why I'm here. Just a key phrase to help put people at ease and make them feel like, no, we are here to help you. That is our job, to serve you. This phrase helps show empathy. I remember when several years ago I locked my keys in the car on a Saturday, like out in the country. And I called AAA. Fortunately, I had AAA at the time. I called, and the woman I spoke with, one of the first things she said was, "Oh, Jamie, I understand how frustrated you must be. I understand how frustrating that is. That's not a great way to start a Saturday." And it made me laugh. It broke the tension a little bit. It made me laugh. And I said, "Yeah, you're right. It's not the best way." And she went on to get my information and to send help my way. And that first phrase, that I understand how blank you must be, it showed empathy toward me. Like, yeah, I get what you're feeling. I get how this feels. And it made the situation so much better. People are going to walk into our libraries unhappy, right? We know this. We can't help this, and we can't always control it. And it could be for a myriad of reasons. And one way we can show empathy and understanding is by saying, "I understand how frustrated you must be that this book wasn't ready," or "I understand I understand that you're upset that this program was canceled," and then maybe explaining why. So people are going to walk in unhappy, but they shouldn't walk in unhappy or walk out unhappy because of how we behave or something we say. So they're going to have that, but how can we make that better? And by showing that empathy, that can go a long way. We also sometimes have to say no, right? It's not fun. We don't like saying no, and we don't like being told no when we are out somewhere or at a store, at a restaurant. We don't like it. It's not a positive thing, and yet it's necessary. So instead of giving the flat out no, we can lead into that with the "as much as I wish I could help." And here's why. I think more people are apt, or they're better about hearing no or something like this if they know why, and we give them a reason. So this is much better than just giving the flat out no, which nobody likes to hear. We also will get asked questions that we don't know. And that is perfectly acceptable. We shouldn't be expected to know everything. We should be expected to still try to find the answer. I'm not saying we should give people incorrect information. Absolutely not. That's a great question. I'm not sure. But Jill is on her break, and when she's done, I can go ask her. That's her area of expertise. Are you going to be around a bit? Can I come find you in the computer lab? Or could I take down your name and number and I can give you a call? So that's a great question. I will find that out much, much better than the "I don't know." The "I don't know" just leaves people hanging and shows that we don't care. And maybe we don't. But in that moment, we do. We do have to care. We're also going to get complaints. We see this a lot. People are unhappy about something. Maybe they're unhappy that we moved the computer station from over here to over there. Maybe they're unhappy we put the nonfiction in a different area, or we did something different in the children's section. So one thing we can do is say, well, I appreciate you telling me. I'm sorry to hear that. Thank you for letting me know. That's a great step. How do we elevate that to even better service? And that's was by asking the follow-up question, may I ask why that is? And we're not trying to make people angry, but we're showing that we really care about their opinion. What might happen in this situation is if we notice a theme of responses, if a lot of people are saying the same thing, then maybe we need to look at changing something back to the way it was, if it's possible. I'm not saying we can always do that, but it's okay to get people's opinions, and we should. And again, it shows that empathy. It shows we care. Simple phrase. When something is wrong, when something is broken, when something is down, when something is done incorrectly, we also want to know. We should want to know. It's not always fun. When I do writing for our website or do a blog post and someone says, well, you misspelled that, or this word would be better, I'm always appreciative. It's always hard to hear criticism. It's hard to hear when you did something wrong, or maybe you could have did something better, but it's only going to make you better. It's going to make the library better. So we should be thanking people. Thank you for letting me know that the sidewalk is slippery. We put some salt on this morning, but it must be slippery again. Thank you for letting me know. Thank you for letting me know our website was down. So instead of getting defensive, it's better to be thankful. Okay, so we looked at our playbook of phrases. What are some simple things we should be saying that can elevate our service, make our service better? What do we want to avoid saying? And you're going to notice some repetition, but that's good because I really want to drive some of these points home. And I'm also going to offer an alternative. So at the very least, we want to avoid some of these things. And the first one is, you can't. Again, we have to tell people sometimes they can't do stuff. We have to say no, but they don't want to hear it that way. So what is a more positive way of saying it? Here is what we can do. An alternative would be this. Instead of, you can't stay on the computer. You can't read over there. You can't eat in the library. It gives that negative feeling. And it might be true. They can't do that. Is there a better way of saying that? A more positive way of saying that? I mentioned this before. We're not going to know everything. We shouldn't be expected to know everything. It's impossible to know everything. Hopefully someone does, and hopefully we can find that answer. So I'm not sure about that. Let me find that out for you. Are you going to be here for a while? Oh, you're leaving? Okay. Could I get your name and number? Could I give you a call? I'm going to try to get you an answer by the end of today. Okay. Much, much better than the flat, I don't know. We have a lot of library policies, right? And they are necessary. Maybe sometimes we have too many policies, but that's for another training. They're necessary. And I'm going to encourage you to keep the word policy as an internal word among you and the library staff, among you and your colleagues. I challenge you to not use it with the public, to not use it with your customers, because guess what? Nobody cares. Nobody cares what the policy is. They don't care that you have the policy. They do care a little bit more about why you have the policy, which is okay. And this is why we do this, because we want to provide you with great service. To provide you with great service, we do this instead. We've felt this is better for providing service. So minimize the word policy or just referring to a policy. If you do, explain why. If you're not sure why, ask your director, ask your board why that policy is in place. If they're not sure, then maybe it's time to ditch that policy. But don't tell them I said that. We also don't want to undermine. There are things that go on in our library rules we have to follow, guidelines that we have that we're not going to agree with. And that's normal. And that's okay. We don't have to agree with all of them. We can disagree with them. However, when we're talking to our public, when we're talking to our customers, we should never be throwing anybody under the bus. So I know that's a dumb rule, but our director is making us do it. Yeah, I know that's a really stupid policy, but our board just passed it last month and we have to do it. No. We don't do that. We might be thinking it. It's okay. We can think it. We're allowed to think it. We don't say it. We don't undermine. We're all on the same team here at the library. You're not going to agree with everything, but we have to, show that positive front. So another way of changing, how do we change that around? I understand your frustration, and this is why we have this in place, and we leave it at that. We leave it at that. This is why we have this in place. And that's what we do. All right. Some of you might have heard of this. Substituting and for but. What happens with the word but in a sentence is that when we use the word but, our listener feels like everything we said before that doesn't matter. So as an example, say you're working with a customer who's frustrated. Frank, I understand you're frustrated right now, but I can't help you unless you quiet down. Now let's compare it to this. Frank, I understand you're frustrated right now, and I can't help you unless you quiet down. Subtle difference, huge in terms of what the customer is hearing. I understand you're frustrated, and I can't help you. So I want to help you. I care that you're frustrated, and this is how I want to help you. So it changes that sentence. It changes to what we're saying to something negative into something more positive. It's a hard habit to break. It really, really is. And it's something that I'm still working on. And notice I said and I do think it does make a difference. It feels weird when we do it at first, and it's just something that you have to consciously work on. So I do encourage you to try that and see how it makes a difference in how you're sounding and coming across. All right. So that wraps up our first training, our first Digital Byte on customer service, the role of positive language. Next time we will be talking about the role of body language in customer service. And I hope you join us for that bite too, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you for listening, and so long.